Princess Charlotte is really coming into her personality. The 7-year-old royal attended the Commonwealth Games with the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge, and she shines in the spotlight.
It began as a quiet stroll through the royal gardens, but everything changed when a small, scruffy stray puppy appeared and began following Princess Charlotte. Guards moved to intervene, but Charlotte paused, knelt down, and something magical happened. In that moment, the little pup wasn't just another stray. He became part of a story that would touch millions. What unfolded next melted the hearts of palace staff, onlookers, and even the royal family. This wasn't just a sweet encounter, it was a royal moment of kindness the world will never forget. The day a stray found a princess. It was a bright and busy morning at the royal palace, with staff bustling about and guards standing at attention. Just another ordinary day in the world of royalty. But somewhere beyond the main gates, something unusual was quietly taking place. Unnoticed by most, a small, scruffy puppy crept through an opening near the palace fence. He wasn't running away from anything. He seemed to have a purpose. With cautious steps and curious eyes, the little stray wasn't looking for food or shelter. He was following someone. That someone was Princess Charlotte. The young princess, full of quiet charm and natural warmth, had just stepped outside for a morning walk in the palace garden. Dressed in a soft blue coat and with her hair tied back neatly, she hummed softly to herself as she wandered among the flowers. What she didn't know was that behind her, a tiny shadow had formed. The puppy, matted with dirt, but with the brightest eyes you could imagine, was carefully following her every move, stopping when she stopped, trotting when she trotted, and staying just out of sight. There was something about Princess Charlotte that had caught the puppy's attention. Maybe it was her kind energy, the calm in her footsteps, or the gentle way she greeted the birds and bees around her. Whatever it was, the pup had made a silent choice. He would follow her. And although no one else seemed to notice, a quiet bond was beginning to grow between the two. As Princess Charlotte paused to examine a butterfly resting on a rose, she finally spotted him. Startled at first, she blinked and took a small step back. But instead of barking or bolting, the little dog simply sat down and looked up at her, tail wagging slowly. There was no fear in his eyes, only trust. Princess Charlotte tilted her head, just like the puppy did, and then gave a soft giggle. In that moment, the air seemed to hold its breath. A connection had been made. Noticing how thin and dirty the puppy was, Princess Charlotte knelt and extended her hand. The dog sniffed it gently, then licked her fingers as if to say, "Thank you." She smiled widely and whispered, "Where did you come from, little one?" The palace guards eventually came over, ready to lead the animal away. But Princess Charlotte gently raised her hand and said, "He's with me." And Princess Charlotte, known for her royal grace, had just made her first royal rescue, not with a crown or ceremony, but with kindness and an open heart. Little did anyone know, this would be the beginning of a beautiful story between a young princess and the scruffy little dog who followed her into the spotlight, and into her life. What began as an ordinary morning turned unforgettable. A lost puppy found more than shelter. He found a friend. But why would the princess show so much care to the poor little dog? Could it have triggered something in her? Let's find out the kind of bond that was shared by the duo. An unlikely friendship. It was a peaceful afternoon in the palace gardens. The sun peeked through soft clouds, casting golden light over the blooming roses and neatly trimmed hedges. Princess Charlotte, dressed in a simple blue coat and boots, wandered down the winding path, enjoying the quiet and the scent of summer flowers. But as she strolled beneath the trees, she couldn't shake the feeling that she wasn't alone. At first, she thought it was just her imagination, a rustling leaf, a shadow dancing in the corner of her eye. But then she heard the faintest sound, the soft patter of tiny paws on gravel. Turning slowly, Charlotte spotted him, a small, scruffy puppy with matted fur and big, curious eyes. He stood a few steps behind her, tail wagging gently, as if he had been following her for a while without making a sound. The puppy didn't bark or run. He simply stood there, looking at her with such quiet determination that it made her pause. Most animals would have been scared away by the guards or the unfamiliar scent of royal grounds, but not this one. Something about him, his stubborn bravery, his worn little body, tugged at Charlotte's heart. Intrigued, she knelt, holding out her hand. The puppy hesitated, then slowly padded toward her, sniffed her fingers, and gave her a soft lick. She giggled, and in that small moment, something unspoken passed between them. It wasn't just a meeting. It was a connection. Princess Charlotte rose to her feet, glancing toward the palace, then toward the open gates just beyond the garden wall. She had never walked out of the palace grounds on her own, but the puppy seemed to be urging her forward. Each time she stopped, he would stop too, waiting patiently. Each time she walked, he stayed right at her heels. Soon, without fully realizing it, Charlotte found herself beyond the palace gates and into the quiet streets of the nearby town. The world outside was unfamiliar. Bustling shops, strangers passing by, the smell of baked bread and traffic. But she didn't feel afraid. The puppy was still there, walking beside her like a tiny guardian. What began as a simple walk in the garden had turned into something much more. This wasn't just a stray animal seeking shelter, and it wasn't a royal child wandering out of curiosity. This was fate at work, a gentle pull from the universe, leading two hearts that needed each other into the same moment in time. Charlotte didn't know it yet, but this scruffy little dog was about to change her life. He had chosen her, not because she was a princess, but because he saw kindness in her eyes. And in following him beyond the palace walls, she had unknowingly stepped into a story of friendship, love, and the kind of loyalty that only a lost puppy could offer. This was no accident. It was the beginning of something truly beautiful. Led by silent paws and a quiet bond, Charlotte steps beyond royal walls into a world of grief and grace. But how did the lost puppy lead her to a moment of honor, loss, and love? Could it be that the puppy has influenced the princess in its own little way? Let's uncover the details. Guided by gentle paws. The small puppy's gentle paws pattered softly against the uneven cobblestone streets, leading Princess Charlotte on an unexpected journey through the heart of the town. The morning sun cast long shadows between the narrow lanes as the little dog tugged gently on its leash, as if eager to show Charlotte something important. Curiosity filled her bright eyes as she followed the puppy, her footsteps light but steady, moving deeper into the bustling streets filled with quiet anticipation. As they walked, the familiar sounds of everyday life faded away and were replaced by a deep, respectful silence. Charlotte found herself stepping into a gathering unlike any she had ever seen before. A crowd had gathered solemnly, near a grand, old cathedral, their faces solemn and their eyes full of quiet sorrow. It was clear that this was no ordinary event. The air was thick with a mixture of reverence and grief. Flags, carefully folded and draped with honor, fluttered gently in the cool breeze. Soldiers stood at attention, their polished boots tapping in unison on the stone pavement. The distant sound of a bugle playing a slow, mournful tune filled the air, wrapping around the crowd like a soft, somber blanket. It was a military funeral, and Charlotte, holding the puppy close, felt the weight of the moment press upon her small shoulders. As she looked around, Charlotte noticed the faces of men and women who had come to pay their respects. Some held tightly to photographs of loved ones. Others clasped their hands in quiet prayer. Tears glistened in the eyes of many, but there was also a strong sense of pride shining through their sadness. It was a powerful scene, one that spoke of loss, love, and the courage of those who serve. In that moment, Princess Charlotte's young heart began to understand something she had never fully grasped before. The stories she had heard about bravery and sacrifice suddenly took on a new, real meaning. This was not just about faraway battles or heroic tales in books. It was about real people, real families, and real pain. The puppy nestled close against her, its warmth a small comfort amid the crowd's solemn mood. Together, they stood quietly, observing the ceremony as the coffin was slowly carried forward, draped in the national flag. A hush fell over the crowd as the final prayers were said, and Charlotte felt a deep sense of respect and gratitude rise within her. This moment, marked by silent tears and proud salutes, would stay with Charlotte forever. It opened her eyes to the true cost of freedom and the strength it takes to protect it. Guided by the puppy's gentle footsteps, Charlotte was led not just through unfamiliar streets, but into a deeper understanding of love, loyalty, and sacrifice. How was the poor little dog's action at the funeral? Let's explore its silent vigil beside a unique coffin, something that touched Princess Charlotte's heart. Max the loyal companion. At the very heart of the solemn ceremony, all eyes are drawn to a small but deeply meaningful figure, Max, the puppy. Sitting calmly and quietly right beside a coffin draped with the Union Jack, Max is far more than just an ordinary dog. He was the faithful companion of a brave soldier, a friend through thick and thin, who shared countless moments of joy, fear, and hope. Max's quiet demeanor says so much without a single bark or movement. He embodies the bond between humans and animals, especially in the harshest of circumstances. For the soldier he stood by, Max was more than a pet. He was a trusted partner, a source of comfort in the darkest hours. Now, as the nation pauses to honor the fallen hero, Max remains by the coffin, reminding everyone of the incredible sacrifices made not only by people, but by their closest companions as well. This small dog's presence touches the hearts of many, but none more deeply than Princess Charlotte. Watching Max beside the flag-covered coffin, she feels a silent connection to the story of courage and devotion. It's a moment that needs no spoken words, a powerful symbol of how love can endure even in the face of heartbreaking loss. Max's loyalty and calm strength speak directly to Charlotte's soul, teaching a lesson about compassion and the deep ties that bind us all. The scene of Max sitting beside the coffin becomes a moving image that captures the attention of the world. It reminds us that behind every soldier's sacrifice, there are stories of friendship, companionship, and unwavering support. Max's presence highlights the often overlooked role of animals in war, their bravery, their comfort, and the vital emotional support they provide. Beyond the ceremony, Max's quiet vigil serves as a reminder of the human need for connection and the healing power of love. Whether through a wagging tail or a silent sit, animals like Max offer a kind of comfort that helps people face grief and find the strength to carry on. In this moment, Max is not just a dog, he is a symbol of hope, endurance, and the enduring bonds that transcend even the greatest hardships. For Princess Charlotte and those witnessing this heartfelt scene, Max's presence makes the sorrow of the day a little more bearable. It shows that in the darkest moments, there is still love, still loyalty, and still a quiet strength waiting to shine through. The image of Max beside the Union Jack-covered coffin will linger long in the hearts of all who saw it, reminding us that even in loss, we are never truly alone. Many have been wowed by the princess's act of kindness to the little dog. Does the queen naturally have a special love for animals? Is it something general to the royal family? Let's find out. Royal Curiosity Unveiled. In a charming and memorable moment, Princess Charlotte and her two brothers, Prince George and Prince Louis, showed off their shared love for animals during a special conversation with the legendary naturalist Sir David Attenborough. This delightful interaction, captured in a video from Kensington Palace in 2020, revealed not only the children's curiosity but also some surprising favorites, especially from Princess Charlotte. While the young royals eagerly asked Sir David about his favorite animal, Charlotte surprised many by admitting her special fondness for one creature that often makes people uneasy: spiders. Yes, the tiny eight-legged arachnids that commonly cause fear and discomfort were her favorite. Princess Charlotte shyly shared with Sir David Attenborough, "I like spiders." To this, the naturalist responded with genuine warmth and enthusiasm, saying, "I love spiders, I'm so glad you like them."
Hello, David Attenborough. I like spiders. Do you like spiders too?
I love spiders. I'm so glad you like them. I think they're wonderful things.
Their shared admiration for these misunderstood creatures sparked a brief but thoughtful conversation that went beyond just names and facts. Sir David explained why he found spiders fascinating and why so many others might feel frightened by them. He said, "I think they're wonderful things." Then he pondered the common fear people have of spiders. Why is it that people are so frightened of them? I think it's because they've got 8 legs, which is much more than us. And if you've got 8 legs, you can move in any direction. So you can never be quite sure which way that spider's going to go.
Why is it that people are so frightened of them? I think it's because they've actually got 8 legs, which is much more than us. And if you've got 8 legs, you can move in any direction, so you'll never be quite sure which way that spider's going to go.
His words captured the mystery and unique nature of spiders, highlighting how their many legs give them a movement unlike any other creature. That unpredictability, combined with their unfamiliar form, often makes people uneasy. Yet, for Princess Charlotte and Sir David Attenborough, these traits only add to the spider's charm. This little conversation revealed a more human side of the royal children, showing their natural curiosity and affection for the animal world. Just like many other children, it also connected them to a global audience thanks to Sir David's presence, who is beloved worldwide for his knowledge, passion, and respect for nature. Prince George and Prince Louis also joined the discussion with their own enthusiasm, asking questions and learning from the great naturalist. But it was Charlotte's unique choice that stood out, a reminder that even those born into royal tradition have personal likes and interests that surprise and delight. Their candid exchange with Sir David Attenborough was a reminder that curiosity and wonder are universal, crossing all ages and backgrounds. Whether it's a majestic lion, a colorful bird, or a humble spider, the animal kingdom holds a special place in everyone's heart, sometimes in the most unexpected ways. This moment from 2020 is still remembered fondly as a glimpse into the lives of the young royals, sharing a simple, joyful connection over the wonders of nature. It shows that beneath their titles and public roles, they are children who appreciate the small marvels of the world, sometimes even the creatures many fear the most. Charlotte's love for animals seems to be second to none, as she demonstrates this very frequently. Let's dive into the details of one other encounter she had with another little dog. The day a scruffy puppy followed a young princess. On that unforgettable day, a small scruffy puppy made a choice that would change everything, not just for itself, but for a young princess and everyone who would hear the story afterward. It was a quiet decision, almost unnoticed by the bustling world around them, yet it carried a deep meaning. The puppy, despite its rough appearance and uncertain future, decided to follow Princess Charlotte as she walked near the palace grounds. This simple act of loyalty and trust sparked a journey filled with important lessons about bravery, kindness, and the true meaning of sacrifice. Princess Charlotte, known for her gentle nature and curious spirit, felt an immediate connection with the little puppy. She could sense that this tiny creature was different, not just another stray looking for food or shelter, but a brave soul seeking a friend and protector. Without hesitation, Charlotte took the puppy's lead and welcomed it into her world. Together they wandered through the palace gardens and corridors, sharing moments of quiet companionship amid the grandeur and history surrounding them. What happened next was more than just a chance encounter. It became a powerful story of courage that touched everyone who heard it. The puppy, despite its scruffy coat and unsure steps, showed remarkable strength. It faced challenges, dangers, and uncertainties, yet it never gave up. Following the princess meant stepping into a world of unfamiliar faces and new experiences, but the puppy's loyalty never wavered. It was a reminder that courage doesn't always roar. It often shines quietly in the smallest actions. For Princess Charlotte, this experience was a lesson in compassion unlike any other. She learned that love isn't about grand gestures or perfect appearances. It's about opening one's heart to those in need, no matter how small or overlooked they may be. The puppy's trust in her taught Charlotte about the power of kindness and the importance of standing by those who can't always stand up for themselves. It was a lesson in sacrifice, too, putting someone else's well-being before your comfort and understanding that sometimes love means making difficult choices. When Charlotte returned to the palace that day, she carried more than just the scruffy puppy in her arms. She carried a heart full of empathy and a story that would stay with her forever. This small adventure became a cherished memory, a symbol of hope and resilience in a world that often values power and prestige over simple acts of kindness. It reminded everyone that even in places filled with tradition and ceremony, the greatest lessons come from the most unexpected moments. That day, the bond between a young princess and a scruffy puppy became a timeless tale, a story about bravery that doesn't need swords or crowns, about love that knows no boundaries, and about sacrifice that changes lives quietly but forever. It was a day that showed how even the smallest decisions can lead to the biggest changes and how true courage lives in the heart. So, what do you think about Princess Charlotte's relationship with the stray dog? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe